Hi, I know it's been a long time since I've done anything, and I'm not really going to address that. What I wanted to talk about today was the Subnautica 2 killing debate. You've probably seen that infamous Discord image where Artie, a dev, is replying to someone who asked, "Why can't we kill in Subnautica 2? That makes zero sense. If not, modders will do it. Also, can you guys add something?" I see a message that said maybe clown crabs was the rest of that. But the developer replies saying, "We aren't a killing game. Go play Sons of the Forest or something if you want to kill. Also, we've heard about the slider. Thank you for speaking up there." That single message has caused the biggest uproar that I have seen in any Subnautica community to date. I love Subnautica, and one of my favorite things about it and its community has been the fact it's relatively been pretty peaceful without much controversy. But for some reason, the no killing stance the developers have taken on Subnautica 2 has been huge. It's been one of the biggest gaming controversies of this year so far, and I mean, to be fair, the year is new and fresh, but it was a bit surprising to me, to say the least, to see the uproar that this has caused. So if you aren't aware, Unknown Worlds has always been a company that's kind of tries to make a statement with their games, and whether or not I agree with it doesn't really matter here. In Subnautica 1, they only let you have a knife because of their stance about how guns work with people, and they also just don't work underwater, which I didn't really have a huge problem with. I mean, you could still, oh, I switched my model on wrong, but you can still defend yourself pretty well, so it didn't really matter to me that much. And I'm personally never been the kind of player to want to go out of my way to kill things. I just don't think it's fun. But Subnautica 2, there is no knife. The survival knife is replaced with the multi-tool, which is like this. It's like a hatchet, a wrench, everything all in one, and it's flimsy, to say the least. I'm not a fan of the multi-tool. You can fight things off with it the same way you could the survival knife, but it's a lot harder with the way the animation is, with it swinging out the way it does, to get the timing right. Because it goes, when you swing, it'll unlock the little blade on it and swing out, but you have a very short interval to get that correctly. That being said, there's no actual weaponry. The multi-tool was not made for that purpose. It's a multi-tool. It's used for a lot of different things. And there's also the sonic resonator, but that was made for mining purposes. It's actually meant for you to mine ores, not for you to kill things, although you can defend yourself with it. It's really not going to kill things for the most part, and the most offensive that thing gets is destroying bloom cankers. I actually am in the Discord myself, so I was there to observe a conversation similarly a few days ago, where someone brought up the topic again. They said, how are you devs feeling about killing fish? Are you sticking to your guns, or are you rethinking it? Genuinely curious, by the way. No shade. One moment, I'm looking at it. But a developer, Fallhawk this time, replied saying, "That's kind of above my pay grade / not my department, but I think the thing that keeping creatures alive buys us is the opportunity to showcase more interesting creature interactions. There's a lot of ideas we have for making it easier to deal with creatures, or even enjoyable, beneficial. I think it'll be important for us to do those so people don't feel their only options are kill creature or be annoyed forever. Whatever we decide to do, I think it'll be our job to make sure people feel like they can have more fun with the creatures alive." And I actually find this to be a really interesting and nice response. I'm a huge marine biology nerd, so I'm kind of biased in being excited for the creature interactions part, which I know not a lot of people may be. But what I find intriguing about this, and I feel a lot of people are leaving out in this debate, is the developers have stated time and time over again they're going to add more methods to deal with the creatures. You're not going to be stuck with just your multi-tool and a distraction flare that doesn't even always work 9 times out of... Well, it works like, I want to say 6 times out of 10, which is not a good ratio. But they're planning to add more. It's just a simple fact the developers think that killing your way to easy mode in the game is boring. And no matter how you feel about that, it's their game. It's the game they want to make, and they've been kind of clear about this from the very beginning. So anyone who's complaining about it now, like, I paid my money for this, you kind of already knew what you were signing up for. It's not really a new stance from Unknown Worlds either, which is what I find the most confusing about the backlash against it and outrage, because of the fact that they've kind of had similar opinions and everything. And I know for some people it's been a thing of, well, but in Subnautica and Below Zero I was able to do it, so why can't I now? But I honestly think a lot of that has to do with the whole weird culture that Subnautica developed about killing leviathans. Like, leviathan hunting was a thing. I want to say primarily about 4 or 5 years ago. That was a huge thing people would do, and I kind of understand why the developers might want to put an end to that, because it goes against the entire environment of the game they were trying to create. But at the same time, I also do understand a little bit why some people might be sad or disappointed because they enjoyed that aspect of the game. As for people who are saying it's survival, like, this goes against the point of survival, I have to say it. Survival is like my #1 favorite genre. I love survival crafting games. Aside from that, management sims are a solid #2 for me. I have about 120 hours racked up in Planet Zoo. But survival doesn't have to involve combat or killing things. A lot of things exist that try to kill you, but it's kind of in the name. The point is just to try to survive and to live. It doesn't matter the method in which you do so, and I've played a good fair share of games like that where, like, killing something wasn't an option. There were things that are just straight up immortal. You could kill things to eat, but that's about it. I don't really think that's a new opinion for a game developer to have with the genre. If anything, I'm actually kind of glad they're sticking to their guns on it, because I like seeing more innovative gameplay. I just hope that they actually do commit to their stance of wanting to add more creative methods to get around enemies later in the game, rather than sticking to the only ones we have. And, like, the Bioshock mod is cool and all, but very finicky. So I hope that gets fixed as well. And sorry if I've been awkward talking. This is kind of unscripted, and I, haven't done this since high school, really. So anyway, in short, I think the whole outrage is kind of blown out of proportion, and it doesn't help that there's a lot of game journalists who are making headlines that kind of take what the creators say and put it out of context, or only put the rage-inducing bits, and forget to mention the fact this game is early access. It's literally version it's 0.1. It's not even like 0.3 or 0.4. It's 0.1. Like, this is alpha testing. The game is early access, and I get a lot of people don't see that as a good argument, but it's literally in development. I don't think we should heavily scrutinize what features it has now as if it's the final product. Giving feedback is great, but the amount of people who are genuinely throwing fits online about it is kind of mind-boggling to me, considering the fact that it's early access. And I get a lot of people are upset about the fact it is early, and I actually do genuinely believe this is the kind of game that should not have released on early access, and they should have waited to release it in full. They've already had 2 early access trials to gauge what their community wants, and to also evaluate what they want for the game. But for people who do genuinely keep ranting about it on Steam and Reddit or whatever, I'm not sure what they have to gain, because the developers aren't going to change their stance, and if anything, I think people complaining about it is only going to make them more, like, aggressive about how they feel about it. I don't know. Honestly, I have some major respect for the ones in the Discord who are speaking and replying to people asking, because I've seen this question get asked once a day minimum for the past week. And yet it'll still get answered sometimes, so I'm kind of surprised that they do. I would be kind of irritated by now, if I'm being entirely honest. I think a lot of them have a lot of patience. Some more than others, but yeah, in short, that's really all I had to say. I think that the outrage is being blown out of the proportion, and it is still a really good game. As for the EULA for Crafton, I will be addressing that later. That's a whole other can of worms, and I do think a lot of it is unethical, the stuff they want you to sign just to simply use the game. But in my genuine opinion, I do actually think that might be intentional. Crafton trying to sabotage the early access release of the game, getting purchases so they don't have to do the payout, which, by the way, the payout has been done. We won this battle. But I actually do think that was Crafton trying to sabotage Unknown Worlds. I mean, the CEO literally takes advice from ChatGPT, legal advice on what to do, so he doesn't have to pay a guy $250 million. I would not put this past him.